What's up, basketball fans? This is Big Mike, and just finished watching the Game 2 of the 2016 NBA Finals between the Golden State Warriors and Cleveland Cavaliers, and Golden State won in a blowout, 110-77. And they've taken a 2-0 lead in this best-of-7 series. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but being that I find it very unlikely that Cleveland's going to win 4 of the next 5 games, I think that the finals has already pretty much been decided. I know you guys are going to say, well, Cleveland can win 2 in a row. They very well can, but they've shown me nothing to indicate to me that they can do that. Plus, win another 2 out of the next 3 games. When 2 of those games will be at Golden State. They've shown me nothing to indicate to me that that's what they're going to do. All right. If you go all the way back to last year's finals. Since the time Cleveland took a 2-1 lead in that series, since that game, Golden State has beaten Cleveland 7 consecutive games. The only game that I saw that Cleveland really should have won, I think, in my opinion, but they shot like shit, was that Christmas Day game. They really should have won that game, but they lost. And one thing that strikes me about Cleveland is, generally speaking, there may be some exceptions here or there, but generally speaking, Clay and Steph never really are one-man armies against this team. They generally either have poor games or subpar games by their standards, or they don't have to shoot much because it's like the whole fucking team just eats spinach before they play Cleveland or something. It's like everybody, even the fucking 12th man on the fucking team, play like starters. It's like they just have no real. I can't say they don't fear Cleveland, but it's getting to the point now where they just own this team. They own them. You know, Game 1, I kind of put a lot of criticism on LeBron, and I still put criticism on him. But it's not just LeBron; it's everybody. Everybody on Cleveland has to step up. All right. I have no criticism toward Golden State whatsoever. All right, the way that they're playing, ball movement, shooting. I mean, everybody's contributing with Golden State. They're playing pretty much perfect basketball. They're beating the pajamas out of Cleveland. I was looking at the body and facial expressions of the players. Golden State looks like a championship team right now. They look like one of the all-time great championship teams. Cleveland looks like a defeated foe. I remember back in the 90s when I did watch tennis a little bit more. I used to watch tennis probably from like 91 to about 98 or something, 99, 2000. I was an Andre Agassi guy, man. I loved Andre Agassi, you know. I always liked his swag, and I thought he was sort of like the closest thing to like a Larry Bird of tennis, like, you know, to an extent where, I mean, is that, well, I don't know if that's a real good comparison, but Andre Agassi always had like a little bit of a black swag to him, the way he dressed and shit, you know what I'm saying? But I always was annoyed at the fact that Pete Sampras just kind of owned Agassi. He always owned him. And I used to justify in my mind being an Agassi fanboy, why that was, you know, the surface or whatever, what have you, or this call should have went this way. But really I knew that Sampras just owned him, and Agassi just had a tendency he was better than Agassi. And right now, Cleveland, the Warriors are just better than them, man. You know, I'm scratching my head to figure out what Cleveland can do. I gotta give a shout out to a subscriber because he said this before the game. I think his name is W Blake 22. He was saying that Cleveland has to stop switching off and leaving other players open, you know, causing mismatches, and they were doing that. You know, like Draymond Green and Thompson, these guys were just wide open for fucking shots. I mean, one time, my goodness, man, Clay was on the island all by himself. Now, they kind of corrected that in the second half when they were trying, but that's another thing. Tyrone Lue's being exposed right now for the novice and overrated coach that he really is. I was saying before this series, it was hard to gauge Cleveland because of how weak the Eastern Conference is. Now, I know there's some subscribers that I have that say, well, look at the combined record of Cleveland's opponents, you know, who have been who has Cleveland played in this playoffs? The Raptors, the Hawks, and oh man, I forget the other opponent. He was saying, look at these teams. Look at the teams that Golden State have played, and they have better records. Like I be saying, like, yeah, they might have a better records, but that just goes to show you how weak the East is. Because these teams are not as good as these other teams that Golden State are playing, but they're beating up on even more subpar bottom dweller feeding teams. I guarantee you that you look at teams with the worst records in the NBA, all right, outside the Lakers in the West, probably the worst records of NBA teams will probably be in the Eastern Conference. Or you got a lot of terrible teams in the East. They're beating up and padding their records, but that record don't mean shit. Because there's no way a person can tell me that, you know, the Thunder, collectively the Thunder, the Trailblazers, and why the hell am I forgetting these first round opponents? But anyway, there's no way you can tell me that Golden State's opponents are worse than the teams that Cleveland have played collectively. I don't buy that. You know, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I don't buy that. But Tyrone Lue, to me, is just being exposed as a novice coach. He's just being outcoached. I noticed. I was talking to 78 Sports TV for a little bit during this game. He made some good points about LeBron. LeBron is very overrated to an extent as far as the plethora of offensive moves and the way that he plays. He said something about LeBron is just a guy that can score pretty good up and down. You know, he's sort of basic, and he doesn't have the grace of a Michael Jordan or a Kobe Bryant, and I concur with that. I noticed that during the second quarter, I think it was, or it may have been early in the third. I think it might have been early in the third. LeBron was in the post, and he was being guarded by Draymond Green. I noticed that if LeBron had spent to his left, went baseline, he would have had an easy layup or dunk or and one or something like that, right? But yet he spun to his right, which put him right directly into the double team. And I think he lost the ball or he was called for traveling or something like that. He can't. I noticed that the guy still at age 31 is not comfortable going to his left. Kobe came to the league. He was not very good at going to his left. He became better at going to his left. Michael Jordan came to the NBA with really no left hand. He worked himself into becoming a very good player at going to his left, though he still was better going to his right. He was just deadly going to his right, but he still was effective going to his left. LeBron still doesn't have that. He doesn't have much of a post game. He doesn't have fluidity in his game. He lacks definitive moves. He doesn't have the body control these other guys. And he is sort of a big lumbering type guy. Which is why I don't understand why he still tries to play a type of game where he's perimeter orientated. He did go to the basket more often in this game, but I'm just at a wit's ends as to what Cleveland should do. You know, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe they should consider the last time that Cleveland had success against Golden State was back in the finals of last year. I remember they were going to Mozgov. They put Mozgov in the starting lineup, and they kept going to him. I think he had like games where he had close to 30 points. Maybe they need to consider doing that. But it's going to take a total team effort to get Cleveland back into this series because they only scored, I think the halftime score is 52-44. They only scored 30 points in the second half. They lost in a blowout. Their offense is just stymied right now. They need to shake things up. They need to make dramatic changes to their offensive philosophy. At times, the defensive effort was there, but they just couldn't convert on the offensive end. They threw some terrible passes. They called a couple of those LeBron traveling violations were a little, but you know, whatever. I can't blame officiating at all in this game. You know what I'm saying? It's all Cleveland in this game. And that's the thing, man. Like, it's not like Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson are killing them. In 2 games, Steph Curry doesn't even have 30 points in 2 games. In 2 games, he has 29 points total, and they're beating the hell out of his team. That's very disconcerting, if not downright alarming, if you're Cleveland, that you're getting killed like this without even, Stephen really breaking a sweat. The guy's not even playing 30 minutes a game right now, I don't think. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Kevin Love, I can't really get mad at him because he apparently suffered a concussion. But my God, this man is made of confetti paper or some shit, man. I mean, I understand injuries. I do. I'm a Chicago Bulls fan. I've been going through this bullshit with Derrick Rose. And all those Bulls fans, I understand it. I understand these are injuries, but the timing is really fucked up, man. I mean, God, man. Like, last year you went out before the finals, and now this bullshit with the concussion. I mean, I can't sit there and tell a guy to play through a concussion. I mean, that's stupid. But, my goodness, man. Like, I don't know, man. Like, just the way Kevin Love just looks out there, man. He just looks sort of out of sorts and like he's uncomfortable still with Cleveland, even though it's the second year. He still looks uncomfortable. He looks lumbering, awkward. I think the worst thing that he ever could have did was lose all that fucking weight, because now he's lost a lot of his bulk, and he's not the rebounder that he once was. He's like limited to becoming like just a 3-point shot, and he is sort of like 78 put this in the comment section. He is like Christian Laettner 2.0 now. Like, he's a solid player, but he's no all-star anymore. And ESPN, whoever put him on that top 100 list needs to be fucking electrocuted with his nuts or some shit, man. By his nuts or something. I mean, like a cattle prod or some shit. Like, I mean, how the fuck do you put him ahead of Shawn Kemp? Are you fucking serious? And Shumpert, man, what the fuck is that in your hair, dude? Like, I mean, that motherfucker like Little Richard and shit, man. A wop, babaloo bop, balop, bam, boom. What the fuck is wrong with these dudes, man? Oh my God, man. I couldn't imagine a guy like Shumpert with that shit in his hair playing like back in the day, man. Them motherfuckers be laughing at his ass and shit. I can just imagine like fucking the whole fucking starting lineup of the Orlando Magic with Shaq and Penny them just looking at his hair and just fucking laughing. Just Shaq probably cracking jokes and Penny fucking like just shaking his head and putting his head to his mouth, just laughing and shit. You know, motherfucker like fucking goddamn the Four Tops or some shit. I don't know what the fuck he supposed to have in his head, man. He sort of looked like that motherfucker that played, oh my god, man. What's that motherfucker that played, the dude that played, Wesley Snipes' brother on Sugar Hill? You know what I'm talking about? Like when the motherfucker was fucking high and shit and his hair was starting like to what's that line, man? Are you my brother's keeper? I'm my brother's keeper and all that shit, man. I mean, all that, man. But anyway, getting back to the point of this video. Cleveland is in trouble, man. They're really in trouble. And I don't really see a way. I'm really at a wit's end. I don't see them beating Golden State. Golden State just owns this team. I mean, shout out to Richard Jefferson, man. I just wish that you were 10, 11 years younger, man. I wish you were the 22, 23, 24 points per game guy that you used to be back in your Nets days. He's played well. He's played with tenacity, you know. But LeBron James is not a leader. This team is like a rudderless ship with no leader. They're just playing. Like, they don't have a team leader. They don't have like it's like sometimes when they're playing, they don't know exactly who they want to go to. They don't know what they want to be. You know, I don't know, man. This team just doesn't look. I feel sorry for Cleveland fans, man, because they're about to be let down again. And I could have sworn I saw LeBron looking the crowd at his travel agent, man. This motherfucker gonna bail on y'all again. He's itching to fucking leave now. He want to go to He want to go to Miami, or this motherfucker gonna look to see what Kevin Durant do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. Like, shit, for all you know, this motherfucker will bail and go to fucking Oakland himself, man. It's fucking disloyal motherfucker, man. He gonna bail on Cleveland, man. He gonna do that shit, man. I see it coming. He gonna fucking leave again, man. Oh, poor Cleveland.